Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else. Welcome back to World's Play-Ins Knockouts. We're 1-1 between Mad Lions and Saigon Buffalo. And I have a quick stat question for you, Gulborg.
Oh, yeah?
How many days ago did Mad Lions lose to Supermassive from the TCL and not advance to the elimination round at Play-Ins? Take a guess.
365 days?
400 days exactly. And they just lost now. Saigon Buffalo, they had side selection. They picked red side. Mad Lions are now the ones under pressure that have to adapt to the Buffaloes.
Oh, they most certainly does. And I think it makes sense. Usually, red side is not what has been preferred throughout the entire year. I mean, you just go back to MSI with T1 as well in that last game. But in this game, it's very much about stabilizing the solo lane. As red side gives you the power of not having a counter pick, red 5, Vayne come into the picture.
Yeah.
So if I'm Mad Lions here, I don't mind blind picking for Nisqy. I know that Froggy's not going to be the one who's punishing you in lane, but I want to save that last pick for Armut and make sure he's in a comfortable position to make sure that top lane is stable and not something that's going to be a weakness on the team.
I saw a couple of comments online talking about a 0 damage comp from Mad Lions into Vayne. It was 10th pick. It was the last option. It was a surprise. Now, this is the team you expect surprises from. So that's why I like red side in particular. How will the drafting now flip? Saigon on the blue side, do you anticipate any changes? They've gone Draven and Aatrox both previous games. Now with the possibility of, first picking it, maybe drop the Aatrox, make that a Mad Lions ban?
I mean, I would really wish Mad Lions didn't have so much heavy priority on the AD carries.
Yeah.
The fact that Maokai gets let through, you don't prioritize it as well. You had Hecarim over Maokai. I think that was a big weakness when Silas was banned. And now that Silas is banned again, even if they first pick it over from the side of Saigon Buffalo, you're not going to have a good answer. There's just like barely any counters to it. The Aatrox is a good shout as well. They might say, you know what, Aatrox, he's broken, but we'll try our best. Maybe Armut has some kind of sort of counter pick that he wants to go at it. We've seen teams let it through multiple times. But from Saigon's side, they're going to stick to the bans they had before.
3 for 3 as far as Draven is concerned. Seraphine and Aatrox are the only other bans we've seen from them. Caitlyn once again removed from the pool. So let's think about what is up and available. Aatrox there, Maokai there. Seraphine is something that's been banned as well. The Poppy has been banned several times too.
I don't think you need to ban the Poppy. No. The Poppy is old right now. So Aatrox will actually get banned by Saigon, and I anticipated a little bit. They didn't strike mass the team that was going to first pick this. They strike mass the team that would have the priority on the Maokai. Then on the AD carry department, they could default to the Misfortune. Maybe they want to play the Kalista knowing that Draven is banned as well. But I would also expect that Mad Lions, that if they see the Maokai, okay, there it is. This is the adaptation I wanted. Throw away one of the AD carry bans at least, and then go for the Maokai ban instead.
What does this mean for Saigon Buffalo? Where do they prioritize their picks here? A lot slower of a draft as we're into game 3. Anticipating and interpreting now the meta of this best of 5. It will be a first pick Hecarim here for BJ.
Yeah, and that's what they did when they were playing against Wildcats in the first game of the entire tournament as well. So it's not like they don't have priority on the other. I think Saigon actually has a good read on it. Now, this doesn't make sense to me in the essence of picking red side, because you're blind picking the Gnar anyway. But maybe there's some stabilization that's going to come through with the counter picks in the mid lane, because Elyoya has brought out the Bel'Veth. And by the way, he had close to the most perfect game you could have on this champion when he was playing against DRX.
Do you think this will be something that Saigon Buffalo have anticipated and have some sort of answer for? That is what we'll need to keep track of as this draft continues to play out. I'm not sure how I feel just yet about Armut on Gnar. Is something he's obviously very proficient on, but didn't have the impact was hoping for in the previous game, and we're going to see that Lissandra once again, this time flanked by Kaiser.
Yeah, hard CC makes it very difficult to play, and I guess Saigon Buffalo, they're going to keep it lore accurate, with Kaiser being picked into Bel'Veth at least. Be familiar with it?
I am indeed, yeah.
Okay, well there you go, I don't have to explain it then. Now, in the mid lane instead, this is where I won. Last time, when they had this Bel'Veth, Nisqy brought out the Vex as well. He was really good at stabilizing the picks as well. You can stop the Hecarim at least. You can't stop the ultimate, but you can look for backline dives as well. Now, once again, Lockdown, really difficult to play into. In the Lissandra as well, there's definitely champions that can be picked apart by the Lissandra, by Froggy. So
yeah,
just coming out as a blind pick, I think Froggy already realizes now, I'm never going to get punished by Nisqy here.
No, going to be very difficult to do so. I'm intrigued to see the tempo of this game. Bel'Veth, one of those champions that can thrive in prolonged team fights, that wants to bail up those stacks, ideally stay in that ultimate form. But the question is, will you stay alive long enough to do so? There's a lot of hard engage in CC already on the side. Saigon Buffalo, they're going to ban away the Camille, ban away the Seraphine. How do Mad Lions close this composition out now?
You know, the curveball I want to see from them is the fact that you'll have to counterpick on support instead. If you really want to take charge in a lane when you can't really do it on the other sides, lock in the Tristana, play on the long range against the Kai'Sa, smack her head level 2 and just jump on her, get a beneficial counter matchup, or you go for the misfortune as well. You give yourself what you tools to fight with in the team fights, even Sivir as well with extra speed up to fight against the Hecarim, but also give Bel'Veth more sticking power. I think they have decently good tools to play around with.
What will they elect to go for? A couple seconds left here. Nautilus is what the Kalista with the last 2 bans, biding their time to round out this composition. And I don't know how Mad Lions want to approach this. The thing I like about Game 1 and Game 2, Game 1, Saigon Buffalo were all about that bottom lane. Caitlyn Morgana, they got an advantage it wasn't enough. This time around,
that's a surprise.
There's a pivot, going to be that Varus, Chain of Corruption, get that CC, lock people in place. Can combo well, but quite difficult to pull off.
Yeah, and also difficult to play up against backline dive. You're very immobile AD carry. It might even be to the point where they have to go Tahm Kench to stabilize it, or Braum as well, depending on what actually comes out here. Obviously, you can play aggressive with it. If they lock in Rakan, Leona is a really good matchup into that. You can lock him down, and it's not going to be a problem. This could be really a good adaptation, though, because if this Shen goes support, then you can't go for that aggressive option that I just mentioned.
You have to assume that is support, though, right? Combination. I mean, think about this combination now. When you consider, if Bel'Veth jumps into any target, if somebody in the backline gets surprised and shut down, that's fantastic. And then the combination, the Nautilus plus, Hecarim plus Shen engages are so powerful. What is the final answer here?
So in my head, I was like, okay, Mad Lions, they're most certainly looking for Leona, and I think that's the read Saigon had as well. That's why they locked in Shen, because the Shen W makes it so that Leona can't stop with a Q.
Yes.
Then on the other side, Nautilus has been banned as well by Mad Lions, so we go back to my initial point. Now they have to pivot to a Tahm Kench.
Okay, I can understand entirely the look of the Saigon Buffalo composition. They've got a lot of tools to go forward. They've got a lot of tools for burst. How on earth is this Mad Lions composition going to work and play together?
I mean, it's just about getting lane priority. If you can move around Elyoya, make sure he gets set up for success, that's really what you're looking for. If you're ahead of the curve, it's going to look good. And I think what's good for Mad Lions in this game that they didn't have last game is the fact that the laners of Saigon Buffaloes are not looking to take charge in the kind of win lane, win game fashion we saw in the earlier game.
Yes.
And that definitely gives you more tools to play around with it. But then again, on the other side of Saigon, if they get ahead of the curve and they start invading Elyoya, his game is over.
I have this feeling that if Saigon Buffalo make this composition work, if they do not fall prey to Bel'Veth, I don't know if Mad Lions have any other shots left in the revolver. Have Saigon Buffaloes downloaded? Have they figured out the Mad Lions? We're going to find out now as we load up onto Game 3. Both teams need to pick up 2 more wins to win the series and to advance to face Evil Geniuses for that final shot at groups. And as we so often feel and say and watch, it's going to be Elyoya as well as Nisqy having a huge impact on how this game plays out.
Now, Elyoya is one of the best, if not the best jungler in Europe. So having him on a champion like Bel'Veth is definitely a side that you can feel more comfortable with. But then you see the bigger picture, and then that confidence kind of decreases a little bit. I think going into this game, Saigon Buffalo, they're feeling good. I'd feel good if I was them.
I'm going to absolutely love this composition. Let's hit Summoner's Rift for Game 3 between Saigon Buffalo and the Mad Lions. And in Game 3, our featured matchup is presented by Mercedes-Benz.
The fans love that.
That's it. Take a look at this now, as I need to keep track of, well, frankly, I'm just so much more excited when I see the Saigon Buffalo composition and how it can play out. And I am very intrigued to see both Armut and Nisqy making this Gnar and Vex work as we keep an eye on the early stages of the game. BJ and Elyoya, I think, going to be very important to track, especially with Bel'Veth in the jungle.
Yeah, so also worth noting is that with the lethal tempo on Unforgiven, we're not really looking for any of the AP shenanigans that you would usually see with Halo Blades. So he's definitely going down the AD route here, maybe on hit. Blade of the Ruin King could be a shout as well with the way that our team has been so prevalent in newer patches. And now actually Mad Lions, they're going to go back to a classic for them. They're going to go for a late invade. with a sweep as well. And this is good for setting up Elyoya in the beginning, starting him up ahead of the enemy jungler at least.
Gonna need that. You really want to accelerate, pick up that pace. Rift Herald's gonna be very crucial to track as well. But we'll need to watch on how and where respective players move around the map. Hasmed this time round, 3rd champion in 3 games against Armut. Running into the Gnar. Game 1 wasn't able to get advantage with that Gwen. Game 2, he really ran away with it on the Vayne. And this time round, we'll now be sitting on the Lillia as Elyoya already starting to move into the mid lane. Froggy is going to use that glacial path to safety, and it's good.
Yeah, but I like the timing though. So what Elyoya is going to do is he's saying, I split the map, so I'm going to move up to my top side so you can't fight for the red buff. Kaiser getting aggressive, might fight a stun here on Taki.
Can he find it? Can he find it? The auto attack is blocked by Shogun. Tongue Lash does connect. All of a sudden, the Hail Varus forces out the flash, and Ignite is starting to burn down. Taki survives, but loses the flash.
That's the 2nd time in a row on the Tahm Kench that Kaiser has been really good at finding an advantage in the laning phase.
At level 1, as soon as he stacks up, the ability to find that CC. Now on the bottom lane, BNJ's making his way down. Elyoya is trying to float there too. Devastating charge is primed. Kaiser's going to flash away, take some damage. The Void Seeker will slow at least and put some damage down. Unforgiven continues to step forward. Here comes Elyoya, surging forward, landing those autos below 100 first blood with the Abyssal Dive. Kaiser's outside the range of the tower, but he gets chunked down by the Rampage. BNJ fancies himself a shot, steps forward. Another Q into the face of Unforgiven. Up in the top lane, Hasmed flashes for it. Gets the flash alarm and no kill just yet. Down in the bottom lane, there's a kill secured on the Shogun. Elyoya and Unforgiven closes out. 3 for 1 at 3 minutes.
Such a skirmish, could have gone either way, but that's the nature of our 2 teams. They're not willing to back down. They want to one-up each other. This time around, though, it just goes so that it favors Mad Lions.
What a start to the game. 1-0-2 for Unforgiven. And that invade from Elyoya started on the red buff of BNJ. Then he moved up, made it all the way down to the bottom lane. Look at your minimap. Elyoya is going to be here just in time.
And that's the pathing I actually want to talk about, because Elyoya kind of tricked the enemy. He walked through mid lane up towards the red side and then immediately beeline down towards the bot side. Because BNJ saw him move up towards the top side at first, he was just like, I can go bot lane for free. But this is where the ingenuity of Elyoya comes to play.
Very nicely done. You mentioned it. One of, arguably to some, the best jungler in Europe. That created a problem. We saw him walk across mid lane. And he doubles back, loops back.
That's a good flash.
Playing into the hands of Saigon Buffalo. Flashes were fantastic, and now Elyoya, backed up by Kaiser, will slash and lick their way to killing Taki for the 2nd time. Bel'Veth has 100% kill participation at 2-0-2 at 4 minutes.
He's just so good at this champion, but it's also such a credit to the team. You have junglers that are used to just play for the lanes, and then you have junglers where the lanes are used to play for them. Graves comes to mind. Bel'Veth, also one of the champions. So the fact that Taki gets caught off guard there, I mean, it must have been great tracking from the side of Mad Lions. And Saigon Buffalo, they need to stabilize a bit, because they can't allow Elyoya to get ahead here. They have the tools to shut him down, but if he's too ahead of the curve, they're not going to have it at the right time. No flash on Hasmed, remember.
No flash for Armut, and BNJ is going to be far too late. Elyoya is looking for that Void Surge, and will easily secure another kill. 3-0-2. This Bel'Veth is ahead of the curve. Goldbog.
They make it look so simple. He just walks around. It's not like anything crazy is happening. It's just, well, no flash on top lane. I'm just walking up here.
I think for that kill, I definitely think we shouldn't underplay that invade into double back, right?
Yes.
I would need to watch that back.
The first play is genius.
Just Giga
Afterwards that, he's just pathing up towards top lane and finding kills.
Does Giga Brain work? Can I say that? Does that make sense?
I mean, go for it. Giga Chat, Giga Brain, whatever it is, he'll own up to it.
Well, Mad Lions right now, plus 1,500 gold. 5 kills to 1. And we've seen the game played on both the bottom and the top lane. Froggy and Nisqy continue to just trade back and forth. Froggy's got a plus 10 CS advantage over Nisqy's Vex. And the Mad Lions stepping forward. That piercing arrow gets channeled up and will tag down Shogun. And once again, firing out that hail of arrows, just stepping forward as much as he can. Shogun and Taki under a lot of pressure because they conceded those decks.
Now, I'm a bot lane connoisseur, but I haven't seen Varus in a while. But the more I look at this matchup with Varus into Kaiser, the fact that you're able to abuse the fact you have longer auto attack range, you stack up your passive, and then you use your abilities to force her away from the minion wave, you can clearly see what the intention was for an Unforgiven with picking this lane. And I think even stabilizing with the Tahm Kench, it's worked out wonders for them.
Something else to consider is the relatively short range of the rest of the Saigon Buffaloes. You know, Lillia, Hecarim, Lissandra, Shen. If they all group up for the engages, that chain of corruption can be hugely influential. Assuming we get to those team fights, it does mean it's at the cost or the risk of that low mobility. Kai'Sa did look to try and push in that minion wave just a little, takes a turret shot for his troubles as Shogun returns to the lane with that Blighted Quiver.
Now, how quickly do you want to start up with the neutral objectives? You want to stack up that deadly lavender.
Oh, Onslaught of Shadows forward. Void Surge 1 and 2 locked in place by that Glacial Tomb. First blood for the mid lane there. Correction, Froggy picking it up. And now all of a sudden, they're chasing 4 members of the Buffaloes now chasing out. Flashing Cleanse is still available for Unforgiven. He's holding on to it and will get over the wall. As Taki is unable to land the taunt. Now in the top lane, Armut fancies himself a shot, fighting into the minion wave.
Minions!
Hasmed will find the sleep. The minions aren't going to do it just yet. The auto and the boomerang is sidestepped. One more auto is all it needs. No flash available. Swirl Sleeve will apply the slow. And Hasmed escapes.
Hasmed with the movement, dodges out on the boomerang. Armut could have picked up a kill there, but Hasmed had his book there and gets away with it. But to go back to the play just before, this is the lockdown that the Saigon Buffalo composition have against Elyoya.
There's Elyoya. How far does he chase? He gets caught up by that Swirl Seed. And Hasmed's going to be able to just prance away to safety. Armut and Hasmed trading blow for blow. Game 1, Armut's way. Game 2, Hasmed's way. This one, no one yet able to stamp authority. And that Endless Banquet has now become unlocked. Taki's here to back up Elyoya. The minion wave is crashing in. Go ball.
They don't have the intel that Taki is there. They'll now spot at least the fact that Elyoya is around the corner, but I'm not sure he's anticipating the Shen.
Well, the engages come out. Elyoya forced to dash to safety.
That's a big knock-up.
That flash. Massive knock-up from Kaiser. Nisqy jumping forward. No ultimate available to him as here comes Armut. He can flash if he needs to. Another kill secured, this time in Nisqy's hand.
Yeah, and even better, that's going to be a free Rift Herald. Remember, when Bel'Veth picks up the Eye of the Herald, or at least picks up the passive from it, she starts spawning a Voidling army in the minion waves. It's so easy to accelerate games with a Bel'Veth, which is why picking up the first Herald and the second Herald is so crucial to make this pick work.
100% kill participation. The timing of that 1v1 between Armut and Hasmed could not have been better. We didn't watch the setup, but the fact that Armut was able to push Hasmed back as the Rift Herald spawned at 8 minutes to unlock the roam for Nisqy, the game plan was very clear, and it has netted yet another advantage. As Elyoya stepping forward in the ultimate form, Gnar into the wall, knock up from above and beyond, and another easy kill, 4th one of the game. BJ's now stepping forward and will try to rampage his way to safety. Do they fancy another fight? Not just yet, not under the tower, not with Taki coming.
No, he's coming around there. That's the Onslaught of Shadows. Picks up the first one.
So much more burst than I was expecting. Elyoya's running away for his life.
Most certainly is. TP's coming in through Nisqy as well. He does have the ultimate available if he's looking for a snipe. But now he's going to back off.
Did not expect that damage from the devastating charge Onslaught Rampage, and they managed to pick up the kill. So Elyoya still 4-1-3.
Yeah, but it's good movement as well from Taki. But what can they get on the bot side now instead, seeing as his AD carry have left alone? For now, Shogun is just going to back away, and that would be the right call to do. But I so love the math movement coming out from Saigon Buffalo. They are ahead of making the moves every time.
And now on the flip side, with this Varus into Kai'Sa that you talked about, using those skills to push, the fact that Taki's not in lane either, it is currently a 12 CS advantage. A second plate here is about to be secured. Mad Lions extend that gold lead by 4,000. And we're at a kill a minute, and it's Mad Lions taking over the early game. Both teams just trading control of who's in charge of the game, and Nisqy with Elyoya making their way down bottom.
Good movement. Remember, no Hecarim ultimate available, so they see the engage.
And Shadow Surge comes out. BJ's running low. Elyoya's trying to use those surges back and forth. The Killer Instinct will reposition Shogun, and Nisqy has bitten off more than he can chew. Elyoya still has that flash available. Chain of Corruption's already been used. Blooming Blows into Blooming Blows. The Abyssal Dive will get Kaiser out to safety for now, and in a 4v3, Armut still got the teleport available. Unforgiven's got no more mana. The Piercing Arrow didn't find the kill, and those Blooming Blows are doing so much work. That is a dead Unforgiven, and the kill is donated to Shogun.
Great TP counter response came through from Hasmed as soon as saw the play come down, and with good vision control as well, that gave Saigon the intel to move around with. They can now pick up the kills, pick up the Dragon. They're losing out on a few plates on the top side, but all in all, you shut down Mad Lions, who was in a huge gold lead.
I mean, it's going to be still a deficit. It is still significant, 3,000, but more importantly, I think to zoom out And Global, talk about the fact that Mad Lions as a team, I think Lyric on the disc said that they wouldn't be able to place in the VCS with the LPL. They like to go all in, they like to fight. They started that invade, they started that fight, they got punished, but Elyoya's going to pick up a lot of places in the tower.
That's a guy right now saying that I don't care about my laners, I'm going to be the one 1v9ing this game, picks up solo first gold by himself.
1,400 gold in the lead, Armut's looking for Hasmed.
Definitely is still. No CC connecting, and Hasmed, he can keep going with the movement speed.
Yep, picking it up. Lillia is doing very well. Mini Nars are available, waiting for that hop. Couple seconds left to go. The hyper's up. 300 hit points. Hasmed, blooming blow. Bonk, swirl seed. One more blooming blow, maybe all be needed. And Hasmed gets the solo kill.
And there you have it. Hasmed in these 2 games has really had Armut's number in terms of finding the kills. First on the Vayne, now on the Lillia. And the Armut not working out.
No, it's not. It's going to be Lillia and the team play of Saigon to try and slow down and shut down Elyoya. Now, let's not forget the fact it's still a 4,000 gold lead. Is the same statement true for this composition as the previous? That win lane, win game for Mad? Is this enough of an advantage?
I wouldn't say so, because that in this game it's so different in terms of how they function, because of how the CC is applied as well on the guy with the biggest gold lead. Like, majority of your gold lead is on Elyoya. He's very easy to shut down with the CC that you have applicable. But also just, and I ask you just, when we're watching this game, does it really feel like Mad Lions in a 4K gold lead?
No, it doesn't feel that way. Primarily because of that 4K, nearly 2,000 is in the jungle. So when the laners are trading back and forth, they're about even. We saw the gold on screen just a minute ago.
It's a really good pickup there.
As it stands, Gorborg, Mythic picked up here for both BJ and Shogun, as well as Nisqy. So waiting for the rest of the players to start picking up that itemization. And we have to just track, how does Elyoya position, how well does he get set up? Because there is a fair amount of CC, but it's, I think, a lot more difficult to land. The Gnar, the Fear coming out of Vex, you know, Chain of Corruption, the knockup, they can work. But in contrast to Onslaught of Shadows, plus the Swirl Seed and the Sleep, I think it's a lot easier to apply that crowd control. The point and click Lissandra in the middle lane from Saigon Buffalo.
You know what? I'd agree with that statement.
I'm so glad. That's next level, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But I also think a lot of it goes down to how Saigon has been able to use these tools so far. Because despite that they're losing out, you can even see now they're trading halves of the map. Not in terms of their own blue side and red side, but in terms of just like riding it down the mid lane with that line. I take the top side, you take the bot side. This is how we're going to play the game now.
Let's also find out how Taki's Stand United begins to influence this game. If Elyoya is trying to set up a play, the combination of that Stand United while backed up by the Shadow Dash, and then you go, you know, Hecarim or even Kaiser engaging, there's a lot of tools and ways in which they can get to Nisqy, get to Unforgiven. If you deal with one of those options, well, then you can just focus Elyoya in a numbers advantage. And right now, BJ's there. I am tracking to see what happens in the middle lane. It looks like Elyoya is catching that wave as Mad Lions are on a recall.
And while most people will obviously look at Shen and think well, it's going to be Stand United to really make sure we can save teammates. The best one to really have is the offensive one, where you can set it up. You can be in the bot lane, help out your AD carry, and then all of a sudden be on the top side to just assist with a tempo play.
Well, listen, look at the minimap here. 15 minutes in, Mad Lions recalled back, picked up a couple more items. With Riftheld on its way soon, starting to make their way into the river. And you can see top lane was pushed in, so Armut's catching their wave. Thank you, observers. Highlighting the minimap. BJ, does he come in from behind? Does he want this fight? I think he does. I think he does. But will it be too late? Elyoya is using that Void Surge to move around the middle lane. Here comes BJ lining up the Onslaught of Shadows and holds onto the trigger.
Yeah, they do. Mad Lions still only 4 members in the mid lane. Armut was on the top side, clearing up the waves. Now he's coming through with a teleport, and they can go on Hasmed here.
This is in the river. This is in the river. Hasmed's going forward, looking for the blooming. Is going to put everyone to sleep with that lilting lullaby. At least 2 members. That's locking in place onto Elyoya. Like Glacial Tomb won't be enough to kill him just yet. Elyoya gets the kill onto BJ. Saigon were disrupted in dealing damage.
And that's the second time in a row this happens right before you want to go for the second Rift Herald. They can open up the mid lane. They can beeline up towards that top side where they can pick up the Herald for themselves and further extend the lead with the Rift Herald coming through from Elyoya and the passive he gets from it.
Mad Lions 5,000 gold up. It is still 100% kill participation. That Bel'Veth that was in the first rotation of picks, Mad Lions is absolutely in control. And I know we've talked so much about the crowd control and the team. So if we get a replay of this, break down for me why or how Saigon was pushed away to prevent them actually killing Elyoya, because like it looked to me like they could have, but
I was really looking for it as well, yeah. And I'm glad you want to highlight it too, because I do as well. Initially, it's a good disengage lead coming out from Hasmed, right? Flash is in, kind of reminds you of a speaker. This time around, though, Cleanse is available for Unforgiven. This is the big one. Elyoya gets knocked in twice through CC from Froggy, but the follow-up is only there once the CC has been applied, and they're not able to layer it. Because they're not able to layer it, well, they're just sending BJ into his own death afterwards.
Well, that allows Elyoya to pick up yet more kills. Managed to get that chem tank as well, so another tool to enable him moving forward.
Look at the bot lane wave currently being pushed in here, so they get mid lane priority. They can move down towards the bot side. Nisqy is escorting in a wave. They still have the Rift Herald available, and they can pick up more gold with the Voidlings coming through as well.
I'd like you to keep an eye on the minimap for me, Goldborg. Let's look at how Saigon Buffalo fend off this pressure. I have felt as though Mad Lion's warding for the last 5 or so minutes has been pretty solid. They've had deep wards. You can see the observers highlighting it inside the jungle of Saigon Buffalo. Led by Mad Lion.
Dramatic.
Will just get caught out. And I mean, that is obliteration on hit points. Face checking into a jungle that's not yours. The bottom lane was just being pushed by Mad Lions. The root from the chain of corruption. Froggy's going to self-cast the ult. The damage is going to come out.
And it's certainly not going to be enough. Froggy gets out of there. Shogun gets in!
Oh, the Acathian Rain! Shogun making the play, but at what cost? All of the surges being used. A flash forward from Unforgiven. Armut pulling Hasmed and Froggy away. Elyoya is now looking for more. That banquet is endless and he is hungry. Froggy goes down as Unforgiven and picks up the kill. The Rift Herald is going to do so much work. This is the second Herald and it's going to be able to get another charge off.
In game 2, bot lane inhibitor was broken open at 17 minutes into the game. In game 3, 18 minutes of standing, but Rift Herald goes down and Mad Lions, they're going to keep the inhibitor up as well at the same time. I think that's the correct choice, but overextension starts out by Saigon Buffalo. Afterwards, it becomes a turret defense. And while it's a great pickup from Shogun initially, once the rest of the team fight plays out, Mad Lion still has the lead.
And I mean, don't forget that, what's it, BJ, that face checked, you know, into that red buff, into the darkness. We just saw the bottom lane being pushed by Nisqy, and it was a decision that was punished. And now BJ and Taki stepping forward once more. No ways. Do they fancy another engaged Kaiser? We'll just spot them out, and we're playing for Hextech Rift.
Hextech Drake up and available now. I think you want to look for the resets, but this is the big one you're talking about. Like, look at the pink wards as well. You're not allowed to walk in here. You can't get this vision. At best, you have the Raptor ward, and you have the ward next to the Cisco bush. Outside of that, it's not really available. Sorry, I don't know what to call it. There was a flag there. It's the Cisco bush.
That's awesome.
Give me a raise for the marketing as well at the same time.
Awesome. There we go. We'll let the producers know. 21 days of epicness, and it is followed on day 5 right now. I mean, this team fight, I gotta give some credit here to Shogun.
Shogun's amazing.
He saw the opportunity and took it. Ultimately, Mad Lions had more tools, also so far ahead that he gets punished again, because it is still an over-aggressive move, right? Because the rest of the team stuck with it.
This is what I found so funny, because Elyoya didn't want to go into combat and potentially lose out on the Rift Herald. He used it before going into the fight. Armut goes down to taking a tower shot too much, but outside of that, they're still super happy about the situation. And gold lead now, 8k in the lead of Mad Lions.
Still
Saigon looking to play defense in their own jungle, but they can't really do it.
It's still 100% kill participation. That single champion is taking over, especially when you look 1-3-3, 1-1-3, 2-1-3, 1-2. If it's not Elyoya, it is not happening. He truly is the Mufasa of this prize.
You know what? It's really curious to me. This is the first time I actually see the chem tank coming through for the Bel'Veth. Usually we see a frozen fist be the one just to stick on your targets. This time around, though, I think it realizes that he needs something to bridge the gap between the champions that have so much movement speed, like the Lillia, like the Kaiser. Baron has been started off. Mad Lions have lost here before with a Bel'Veth.
They are not sticking to it now. They have peeled. In terms of initiation, Armut is in Mega Gnar. Great vision. You see the boulder toss. Tagging on to Taki.
Curious to see that Change of Corruption still up and available. If Unforgiven wants to look.
Glacial Path wasn't followed. Chain of Corruption starts to spread. 1, 2 members locked in place. 2 members dead. Unforgiven deletes the pony and the horse. And now Froggy is going to fall. Popped. Triple kill for Unforgiven. That should be the Baron.
It's just as simple as that. Saigon walks 5 members into the Valley of Death in the mid lane. Only 2 makes it out. And now Baron on the cards for Mad Lions. Unforgiven makes it look easy with 1 Chains of Corruption.
Oh, really nicely done. Saigon, I think the right idea, push that mid wave, try to pull Mad Lions towards you, threaten that tower. Saigon Buffaloes have not taken a single tower as of yet, by the way, and now Mad Lions will pick up the Baron. They have absolute control of this game, and it is their third to lose.
Yeah, I was surprised the Chains of Corruption didn't come out earlier, because Taki was really overextending himself as well, but it's the CC chain. It's coming through. You get the fear as well from Nisqy. You have the knock-up from Elyoya. There's the same kind of CC that can be applied that Saigon has, but when you're ahead, it's so much easier for Mad Lions to apply it.
That's the second time in about 4 minutes that I think the Buffaloes have been overconfident or ignored the darkness. You know, they got caught in the red buff stepping forward. They're in the river. They knew Mad One Baron, and I understand you have to check, but they've got to be a little bit more careful, figure out a different answer of stepping into the darkness.
And let's be real, we're 22 minutes into the game in just a bit. We have an 11k gold lead from Mad Lions. It's hard to keep a focus on Saigon here because they're playing so much on the back foot at this point in times. They have the tools, where they have the CC we've been talking about the entire time, and this is really all they can do. But if they take a full-on 5 versus 5, they will just lose to Mad Lions.
Yeah, and that's why you have to be so careful of that darkness. So even if you stand toe-to-toe, even if you step into the darkness, like, the night is dark and full of shadows. Saigon Buffalo rooted up in place. That's the engage. It's not 5v5, it's 4v4. Kaiser escapes with his life. Teleport's coming in from behind, but will the fight be over already? Mad Lions going forward. Nisqy surges with the shadows. Froggy is running for his life, and he will not be able to escape just yet. Armut's looking to run him down. Hasmed's trying to run interference. Swirl Seed comes out. The boulder toss is sidestepped. The rest of Mad Lions are inside the base.
They most certainly are, but they're still looking for a fight here for some reason. They're looking for it.
Armut escapes for now. Kaiser goes golden. Killer instinct from Shogun. He finds himself just one, and Hasmed's the last man standing. The Pride of Lions are inside the base and looking for the Nexus.
Void Queen shuts down the Kaiser. They're ramping in towards the Nexus turret, and Mad Lions, they strike back in the third game.
Elyoya takes down Saigon with Mad Lions at his back. With the Nexus falling, Mad Lions go 2-1 up over the Saigon Buffaloes. It is over just yet. Will it happen? Yes, it does. 2-1, Mad Lions.
And it's a good way to come out with a victory here, because after that second game, it felt like Mad Lions had gotten their comfort, and they had just straight up lost to Saigon. It looked like Saigon had figured them out, but they bring in that curveball. They bring in what is about to be a signature pick for Elyoya at this World Championship with the Bel'Veth.
Picks and bans becomes very interesting. Saigon will get side selection for this next game. I'm interested to see what will be prioritized. That Hecarim has been influential, but even more so, if there is an answer to this approach, have Saigon figured it out? I posed the question at the beginning of game 3. Did Saigon figure Mad Lions out? And this one is just, I think, a pop-off Bel'Veth performance.
I mean, I think Saigon could have gone into this and still had a good time. I think the problem really arose when Elyoya just picked everything up in the early game.
Yeah.
Remember that 2v2 skirmish where everyone was just fighting? That could have gone both ways.
That is so important, actually. I forgot about that 4 minutes, 2v2 for 1 in the bottom lane. While our teams are readying up for match point, we're heading over to State Farm Analyst. State Farm Analyst there to break that one down.
I don't know what just happened up there on the caster desk. Yeah. Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst desk.
Was that Bel'Veth sound effects?
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Yeah. That's Bel'Veth spawning all our little void monsters that nobody understands how they work.
Also, this is a tiger.
Oh, good. I'm glad you.
Yeah.
I like that. I like this. Jat wanted to make sure that the audience knows that we're not stupid.
Yeah.
We know that that's a tiger and not a lion, but it was the closest thing we had in this studio to a lion. Yeah. So we grabbed it. We grabbed it because why not? Let's dress the setup. Okay, so for as dominant a game 2 as Saigon Buffaloes put up, Mad kind of just stepped up and showed them they can do the same.
Yeah, Mad got pissed off after game 2. He knew that the second the Bel'Veth came in, first rotation of red side, and I mean, hell, Elyoya had an amazing game on it. Pretty much single-handedly took over the game.
Single-handedly did it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say even the last 2 games, though, explosive bottom lane fights that seemingly decide the game. It was so one-sided for the side of Mad Tigers this game that it didn't seem like there was much coming back. The Shen support was already a bit of a reach for a pick. If it does get ahead, it's very effective, but if you fall behind on that support pick, it's very difficult to come back. And just this whole extended engagement went so heavily in the favor of Mad.
Yeah, and you know, it comes right off of Jat sending us down the rabbit hole where we did find out Cape Buffaloes do actually kill more lions than vice versa. But yeah, this game did not go that way. I do want to say
Statistically, is it two lions killed
I
per
feel
buffalo?
like if
What is
BJ lands that one Hecarim Q that hit no one, he probably gets the double kill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it feels like had that gone differently, I feel like this could have been a different game for Saigon Buffalo. Then maybe you're the ones being the aggressor, the Hecarim's going in, he's bringing the Shen, the Kai'Sa's able to jump in and follow up, kind of what their composition hinged on. But once Mad found that early lead, we just saw Elyoya at Bad Lions consistently invading Saigon Buffalo's jungle and really never gave them a lease of life, because when you look at Buffalo's comp, it's definitely one that needs to be the one starting the fights, wants to be on the front foot.
I think it's important that Mad Lions have showcased here in the third game that they don't need to have Elyoya on that Hecarim. It can be taken away. He can jump to something like the Bel'Veth. They can still be successful. If I'm to point at something that actually concerns me, even in a victory for Mad Lions, it is this reliance on Gnar. And seeing the Lillia come out in response and how it can be played and navigate some of these team fights, it concerns me for a more even game state where we get that same top lane matchup. Like, yes, the Gnar wasn't necessarily pressed in this game because he didn't have to be, or didn't have to be the catalyst for a victory, but we saw it in those couple scenarios in a 1v1 in the side lane. Lillia's winning out, and that's a matchup that I could see starting to warp.
As well.
Yeah.
I mean, we even see the damage numbers, right? Not really a huge part in terms of taking the game over. The other members really stepping up, especially, again, kind of surprisingly, Nisqy, big damage dealer, just overarchingly coming into planes where we sold him is, again, the facilitator, the one who pushes and moves, where he's been the highest damage share for the side of Mad Lions.
I like this. 2 lions.
Now there's 2 lions.
To 1 buffalo.
To
That's
1 buffalo.
the updated series score.
Well, and now they have a better shot, because as we've learned, it takes generally more than 1 lion to take down a buffalo, but it only takes 1 buffalo to take down a lion.
A pride of Lions can beat a Cape Buffalo.
Right.
But, you know, in a 1v1.
We did an unnecessary amount of Googling
we did.
during the last game in this this segment here, just to get up on our our Buffalo v Lion knowledge. Now, when it comes to the top performer in this most recent game, the 1+ OP player of the game is, of course, Elyoya on that Bel'Veth. While he may not have eclipsed Nisqy in damage, I believe he did in kills and got so much done in the early game, really accelerating the pace of the game.
Yeah, 8, 1, and 10, constantly invading the enemy jungle. I feel like this is his second insanely good Bel'Veth game in a row, if you count the one yesterday against DRX where they couldn't quite finish it. 95% kill participation.
Bel'Veth was your crystal ball pick for highest win rate?
5 games played needs to have the win rate. If
Highest win rate. It's lost 1 and won 2, correct?
I think it's 1-1. I think Elyoya's only played it twice, right?
He's played it twice. Didn't he win both games?
No, he lost.
Or no, he lost them. Oh, so that was the loss I'm attributing. Okay,
But with
so
how
it's
well
50-50.
he plays it, just keep it going.
Yeah.
This makes me also want Mad Lions to stay in the tournament as long as possible. So I am conflicted. But
let's talk about game number 4. If we want to see this go all the way to 5, it's on Saigon Buffaloes to make it happen. They will have side select again. They are going to go to blue side this time around, if what I'm reading in the prompter is correct, and it looks to be so.
Yeah.
So what do you make of that move, Lear, given the fact that they only when they found is on red and just took a hard loss from the blue side?
I'm just convinced now that Saigon Buffalo are just hyping themselves up and egoing themselves like, wait, we lost on this side? We don't lose on this side and have to run it back. And it kind of goes to the same thing, I feel like, as last game, where I don't actually hate Saigon Buffalo's composition. Like, it has a clear identity of what it wants to do. It's kind of like the reverse of what happened for Mad last time around, right? Where
would you run it back? Same exact 10 champions.
I don't know if I'd run it back.
Okay, what do you change?
I feel like things like the Shen are still kind of like niche enough to where you want to pull it out once, see if you get that win. But
okay, what's that? What's a better support pick?
I feel like maybe you go away from the Hecarim.
Ooh.
I would probably keep first pick Hecarim. I need to check their bans again, switch something else for the Bel'Veth end, because that wouldn't have been successful.
I love BJ on the Maokai.
I actually don't mind what Saigon Buffalo has done with side select this series. So we can see there it was Silas.
Right. So I suspect Mad won't let that Maokai go through, being on the red side. And so to your point, Jat, maybe a first pick Hecarim, but then ban the Bel'Veth so that he's forced further down.
Well, I definitely know that it's easier to know what you want to change in draft after a loss than after a win.
Okay.
So the strategy of, if we lose a game, let's just stay on the same side. Because normally you say, like, oh, you lost, you better switch something up. But it's worked for them once before in this series where they lost red side, then picked red side to win on red side. So I actually don't mind them sticking, like, even though they're flip-flopping the side that they actually want to play, staying on blue side because they clearly have something in mind that they want to tweak.
Trying to figure out what other bans they could drop on the side of Saigon Buffalo. Like, I'm wondering about that Aatrox. I know it's got 100% presence throughout the tournament, but I'm almost wondering if you should be either forcing Mad to consider banning it or just picking it up for yourself.
I kind of wonder as well, right? You would assume that Mad Lions would have to go for it if it's up instead of the Gnar, but at the same time,
there's a lot of Gnar skins left.
Exactly, it's still Armut, so maybe you just get Aatrox for yourself.
That's a good point. We didn't consider how much deeper Armut's
champion pool is.
Yeah, it's something like 24 champions deep.
Yeah.
In this series, he's played 2 different versions of Gnar.
He hasn't even.
He's apparently got 2 games on like Dino Gnar. So unfortunately, he's doubled up once. But I'm wondering where else he could go. What do you think? Does Gentleman Gnar stand more of a chance against a Buffalo than a Dinosaur Gnar? I would actually imagine Dino Gnar beats Buffalo.
It should. And last game he was on Galaxy Gnar.
Yes.
Which is just more technologically advanced.
Oh, true.
So I think he should stick with that.
Yeah, ain't no Buffaloes
Man,
reaching the
draft
Galaxy.
meetings must be so easy with Armut. Be like, okay, what do you want here?
Well, okay, you say it's easy, but is it easy or is it actually something that we should start considering as a limiter? Like, does he seem reliant on it? Are we worried that they're always reaching for it? Is that indicative that they feel like that's the only pick they have in the top lane? Like, there's a serious question about Gnar moving away from the skins themselves.
I don't know how concerned they obviously don't seem too concerned in this series. I mean, definitely if they were playing like an RNG or a DRX.
You need more options.
Exactly. Like, I mean, you're just going to get steamrolled. And, I mean, heck, if Hasmed, again, has things like the Vayne, I think it can be a consideration of like, hey, guys, we actually need more.
All right. Well, we'll find out soon enough whether or not it'll be a 4th Gnar game for Armut, and we'll see if the Buffalo have what it takes to tie up the series and keep their world's hopes alive. Game number 4, right after this.
Don't ever say it's over if I'm breathing. Racing to the moonlight and I'm speeding. I'm headed to the stars, ready to go far and start walking. Run me my money. Run me my money. Run me my money. Yeah. Big bad money maker, working hard for all this paper. Check my stats, I'm kinda major. Can't nobody do it greater. I can make your body rock. I'm the boss, I call the shots. Doesn't matter what it costs, baby. No, I got it. I'm forever popping like the hot grease in the pan.